Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and so always pleased to have on one of Susan Clausen's cool folks that are doing great things in the theater world. We got from Scripps Ranch Theatre, Ted Leib, a frequent guest on the show. I love when Ted is on. He's the director of Fully Committed. How you doing, Ted?
Doing good, Drew. Thank you for having us.
Always good to see you. Joined your colleague, Dennis Peters, who's an actor in Fully Committed. How you doing, Dennis?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Can't wait to hear all about this. We'll start with you, Ted. What's Fully Committed?
Fully Committed is a terrific one-person play written by Becky Mode. It's just a fun, hilarious romp. It's a single actor playing more than almost 40 roles and ping-ponging back and forth between his character, which is an out-of-work actor, and all the people that call this fancy restaurant where he works to get reservations. And then there's also family issues. He's got family that calls him, and he's sort of navigating through all of that throughout the course of the play.
So interesting. So Dennis, only 40 roles?
Only 40, yeah.
Okay, so on this, have you ever done one with 40 roles before?
Nothing like this, no.
How do you do that?
Yeah, it's a challenge for sure, but it's been a real fun challenge to take on, and Ted's been great. Really appreciate him having me on, and I'm doing my best, and I'm having fun doing it.
How much of it is improvisation?
None of it is improv. Ted will be the first to tell you.
I couldn't remember. Okay, what character am I supposed to be? I don't even know how you even get through that script.
Yeah, it's very much a process. Everybody always asks like, "Oh, how do you memorize all this stuff?" And it's boring, but it's just hard work. That's all it is.
It's a lot more than hard work on this. So when you first got this, okay, and you said, okay, you're going to be the one doing this aspect of it, how much prep did you have to do?
I did a lot of prep before rehearsals even started, so they sent me the script, and so I was able to start memorizing. I think that was the biggest thing for me, is to try to get it relatively comfortable for myself prior to rehearsal starting. And so then when rehearsals were starting, then it was all just like fine-tuning and figuring out the blocking and figuring out the characters and all of that.
Right. So are you doing anything but speaking? Are you playing music? Are you singing? Are you tap dancing? Are you roller skating?
There's a little singing, I guess. I don't want to give too much away, but
no spoiler alerts.
No, yeah, exactly. Not too much dancing, but there is different physicality with each of the characters. So there's something unique about each one of them.
Right, exactly. So Ted, is this the first play you've directed where you have one character doing 40 roles?
It is, absolutely. That's the first one-person show I've directed, and certainly the first one that has so many different characters embodied in that one actor.
So how do you direct something like that?
That's an interesting question. Going into it, I wasn't sure how to approach it, but there's benefits to it, and there's also some real challenges to it. But the benefit to one actor, and Dennis and I discussed this when we first met, is that if you have even if you even have two actors on stage or in the play, let alone 6, 10, 15, 20, you can't just say, hey guys, where are you at right now? How do you feel? What do you want to work on today? With one actor, Dennis and I were able to have those conversations throughout the whole process where we are not quite sure about this particular spot in the show. Do you want to run that? And then we can do that, but then maybe we can try this too, just to get this down. And that's a real benefit. It's true collaboration. I always want to collaborate with actors anyway.
Right.
I want them to bring their input. But when you're trying to schedule things, plan things out, you have to, as a director, you have to decide what you're going to work on if there's more than one person in the room, because they may have different opinions.
Right. So Ted, you've also acted, of course, obviously.
Yes.
Have you ever acted, well, maybe not 40 different roles, but have you been in acting where there's been multiple roles?
You could argue Lucky Stiff was more than one role.
Right.
And yeah, that's happened a time or two, but nothing on the level of this. This is so unique, this particular piece, in that you're watching the character Sam, the out-of-work actor. You're watching him do his job, but then on a moment's notice, he's flipping from who he is, from himself, to this 86-year-old woman who's calling in, or this 30-year-old another actor in town that might call in, or his dad calls in, or somebody else. And all the people that are calling in want something. I think that's what drives the piece forward. Everybody who calls, especially the ones who want reservations in this restaurant where it's very difficult. What is it, 3 months out, I think, that they booked this restaurant. So everybody wants a piece of him in some way or another. And he gets pulled in all different directions throughout, and he has to maintain an even keel.
Right, exactly. So, Dennis, how many different scenes are there? Or is there just one set and you're bouncing around? Okay, I'm in the restaurant, now I'm somewhere. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the whole play takes place just in the basement of this restaurant. And so it just follows a day in the life of Sam working at the restaurant, and then, the various mishaps that may happen to him during that.
Right, exactly. So, Sam, what is his role in the restaurant? Is he manager, host, waiter, chef? What's his role in the restaurant?
Yep. So he takes reservations from potential customers. Yeah.
Okay, so he's getting the reservations,
Yep.
And then when Ted Leib calls and say, I have a party at 15, I want to be in 12 minutes, you say, bite me or something.
Yeah, I'll say, you can call back for a reservation in 3 months. Exactly.
Exactly. We're chatting with Ted Leib. He's the director of Fully Committed. It's going to be at the Scripps Ranch Theatre. We'll get the show dates from that in a few seconds. Over here, joined by the only actor in this performance, and that's Dennis Peters, doing 40 different roles. When does it start? Has it started? When is it starting?
No, we open a week from tonight,
Okay.
September 6th. It runs September 6th through the 29th at Scripps Ranch Theatre on the campus of Alliant University.
Right. Exactly. And is it on weekends? Is it during the week?
It is Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Sunday matinee at 2, Fridays and Saturdays at 7:30, although we have one day when we have a matinee instead of an evening show. That's on the 21st.
Right.
And that's because Scripps Ranch Theatre is having their annual fundraising gala that evening.
Oh, nice. Very, very, very good. When we're chatting with our friends from Scripps Ranch Theatre again, Ted Leib is the director of Fully Committed, joined by Dennis Peters. I'm Drew Schlosberg. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by the great folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. So I'm assuming, I'll start with you on this, Ted, no audience participation?
That's correct. Nobody's brought up on stage to take part in anything. That's correct.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes there's some interaction on it because you only got 40 different characters you're doing in this area. So, Dennis, when you're doing this, and I think you had mentioned there's an 86-year-old woman that's in part of this or something like that. How do you change your voice to do that?
There's a lot of different voice changes, like it could go from Sam, who's like kind of like a normal, your everyman, and then it could go to an 86-year-old woman, something like that.
That is
what I mean?
very, very good. And what is the range? Is it anyone younger than Sam and anyone older than the 86-year-old?
No, I say that's kind of the cutoff. Yeah, that's the range between those. Yeah.
Right. So then you got to memorize the personalities of these 40 people.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. And is there a dominant character other than obviously Sam, who is, sort of the highlight of it, but is there family members you're saying are calling in, right?
Yep.
And saying, hey, did you feed the parrot? Or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah. And yes. So again, it all kind of goes back to Sam. So Sam's the main character, and the whole story revolves around him. But there are other characters that he talks to multiple times. Like Ted mentioned earlier, he has a relationship with his dad who calls in multiple times. And the main thing that his dad is trying to get from him is to come home for Christmas. And that's a little bit challenging when you're an out-of-work actor and you need money and you need to need to be working. And so that's one of the struggles that Sam deals with throughout the show.
Yeah, when we come back from break, I want to talk to you more about this. I think, Ted, we've talked about your background in getting involved in theater and all that. We can ask you, Dennis, what brought you to this as well. Always save a piece, as you know, Ted, to talk about how important it is to get youth to the arts, and especially watching live theater. Nothing like live theater, just like there's live music. We'll talk about that as well. Of course, and always save time for what our listeners can do to support the theater. Certainly go to the performances. That is really important. But, donating is really important as well. When we return with Ted Leib, director of Fully Committed at Scripps Ranch Theatre, joined by the one and only actor in the performance. That's Dennis Peters. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. We're brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, our spotlight in the show, and we will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union for 6 decades, doing just wonderful things for people living in San Diego County, joined by Ted Leib, director of Fully Committed, being at the Scripps Ranch Theatre, and the one and only actor in the play, Dennis Peters, playing 40 different roles. My goodness, that is unbelievable. Dennis, how'd you get involved with theater since you were a young kid? Is your family in theater? Or, man, I'm not sure how I stumbled onto this thing.
No, yeah. So both of my parents were into theater. They both went to college for that. And they actually met touring with the Missoula Children's Theater throughout the country.
Montana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And so it was kind of thrust on me at an early age, I want to say. My first play, I was 5. So I've been doing it for quite some time.
You remember what it was?
Oh, yeah.
What
it was
it?
called Wiz of the West, and I was a tarantula in it. It was classic.
A tarantula. Okay. Yeah. What is it about?
It's kind of like a retelling of Wizard of Oz, like with a country spin on it.
And you played tarantula. Okay, so do we actually in a costume, or were you walking around like a tarantula?
I was in a costume, so I remember like putting out my arms, and then all the other arms were attached on strings, and so I had 8 arms. It was pretty great.
And here you are, many moons later.
Here we are.
40 different roles.
That's 25 years ago. Can you believe it?
Right. No tarantula in Fully Committed. Ted, how old were you when you first started in this field?
The first thing I remember doing was, I think I was in 5th grade. And we did it was a holiday show called The Children of Chocolate Street that may have been written by one of my teachers. I don't know. I've never heard of it since then.
Oh, that is great. I want to go back to you, Dennis, on this. As we talked about, 40 different roles. That's crazy. And so how do you make sure when you kick this off that you're going to be relatively consistent with each of those roles every night? That obviously a lot of practice, but when I hit that 86-year-old woman, am I doing it the same way each night. You're supposed to, correct?
Yeah, of course. And again, this is something that we've talked about in rehearsals and stuff, is making all of the characters consistent. Sometimes these characters will call back multiple times throughout the show, so got to make sure that the time I bring up Dad or the way that I talk as Dad is the same as when it happens 20 pages later.
I just can't get my hands around that aspect of it. So, what are you looking for, Ted, when you direct someone like Dennis on something like that? Do you hear something that, hey, that was great? You had Dad in there 20 pages ago, but you were a little more high pitched with Dad than you should have been. Do you do stuff like that?
Yes, absolutely. Those are the kind of notes that the stage we're in now is we're running the show and we're just kind of fine tuning it. It's in great shape right now.
Right.
We could probably open this weekend if we had the tech in place.
Right.
But we'll spend the next week repeating things, getting it to where it's just absolutely in the body. And Dennis's everything is natural, and just fine tuning those moments. Just like you said, like your voice was a little different here than it was last night. Let's make sure we stay consistent.
Which is beyond unbelievable. So how do you do this? So Dennis, obviously in real life, there's a lot of distractions, and then all of a sudden you're on, and you may have been, before you got to the performance, you're watching some stuff on but don't put that voice in the show over here. I got to make sure that I'm only focusing on, of course, you're a professional actor. You can do that. I don't know how you can stay on focus that way. That is just amazing.
Yeah, and the real challenge with this show, aside from all the characters, obviously, and memorizing it, is that I'm on stage the whole time. So it's like, you can't lose focus. And luckily, again, we've been running the show consistently, so I have a lot of practice doing that. But yeah, if you lose it for 1 second, then you gotta really pull yourself back really quick, because you'll lose it quickly.
Yeah, I just, I think it's fantastic. I'm going to, shock Susan Clausen, because I've actually gone to one of the plays. Ted, you were up in Oceanside when I saw Susan, when she did her Boston accent show.
Good people, yeah.
Exactly. So I may, shock, if you see me in the audience, Susan, I don't want you to faint, okay? I got to see this thing. There's no question about it. Let's talk about something that's near and dear to both your hearts, but talk to you, Ted. How do you get more youth involved in the arts?
That's a very good question, and very poignant for our times, because we all know that anybody under like 40 now is so used to having everything at their fingertips,
right,
on their phones, on their tablets, 600 channels of on-demand TV. And I think that that combined with the fact that for 40 years or so, public funding for the arts and education, particularly in the grade schools and lower levels, has diminished. And so the kids aren't being exposed. I remember being a kid and going multiple times to the Old Globe to see a production, as an example. And I know that that's not happening as often. So after-school programs are so important. At OTC, we have a thriving youth program that includes 2 youth productions in combination with the Boys and Girls Clubs up there. So we're reaching out to communities that ordinarily wouldn't be able to attend theater. And all these things are so vital, because live theater is such a different experience, and it requires an investment on the part of the audience member. It's not just going there and having it thrown at you like your what's on your phone, or even going to a movie. It's very different. It's a connection. You have to sit there and invest and pay attention for, in this case, an hour and 10 minutes. And that's, I think, vital for social growth for a child, the ability to just connect with other people. I think it's more important now than it maybe has been in a generation.
Well, we talked about this quite a bit, I think, Ted, when you've been on the show on this. There's not been one, day when we've done our spotlight shows, especially in recent years, that we're not talking about mental health. We all know we're at crisis proportions, certainly in this country and in the world on this. And this is the beauty of theater, is the fact that if it can relax some of that, and I'm going to be in a different world on that. Talk about how important that is to you, Dennis. It's just to see the audience and enjoy what you're doing, of course, whether it's this play or not, and just get out of some of the craziness that's in this world we're in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think going to see live theater is one of the most it's just really like an inspiring thing. At least when I go see it, there's something very romantic about going to see live theater, I think. And so, yeah, I would urge anybody that has the means to go. Absolutely.
Right. So, and I know the answer to this question, but I ask it anyway. How much do you live off of the enthusiasm or the reactions of the audience?
Oh, it's a lot for sure. Yeah, there's a different energy, and in rehearsal and stuff, when it's like me, Ted, and the stage manager DJ in the room, it's so much different than it's going to be when there's 150 people in the room in terms of energy. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, and I think what's great about it, we talked about it, and having youth go and see a play. I remember my first play. I went kicking and screaming, by the way, when I was growing up in L.A., because I think the L.A. Rams were playing on TV. and we're going to go see the Pirates of Penzance, and you're going to like it. And I did, actually. It was amazing. I was at the door of the Chandler or something like that back in the day. And it makes a difference, to say the least. And it's like anything, unless you experience it, you just really don't know that. Talk a little bit about the fundraiser that's coming up on September 21st.
Yeah, September 21st for Scripps Ranch Theatre. It is from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Scripps Ranch Community Center.
Right.
And it's a fundraiser. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's an island theme. So there's going to be some dancers, Polynesian dancers, and some other things that are as part of the entertainment. And of course, we'll have there will be an opportunity to bid on auction items and possibly even raise a paddle if a donation level is comfortable for the attendee, which we certainly hope will be the case.
Right. Is there a website people can go to sign up?
Yes, scripsranchtheater.org, theater spelled R-E at the end.
That sounds great. Dennis, talk about, is it Kyla's studio? Or
Kayla, yes, my fiance. Thanks so much. Yes, so my fiance Kayla, she runs a performing arts studio in Encinitas. It's called Project Performer.
Nice.
So we teach dancing, singing, and acting to kids and teens around the area.
Oh, nice. So they come from the school district, or they come from
just kind of
clubs,
all over.
Okay.
Yeah, so a bunch of kids come from like Carlsbad area or come up from Solana Beach or something like that to come to Encinitas. And Kayla Schafroth, she does a great job doing that.
Very, very good. Well, maybe we should have her come on the show.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure she would love it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have Susan, tee that up as well. So, Ted, what else do we need to know about Fully Committed?
Oh, gosh. Get your tickets now. They're selling well. ScripsRanchTheater.org, again, is the website to go to get all that information. Fridays and Saturdays, 7:30. Like I said, this is a unique experience. Dennis is going to be, it's such a challenge, and he is so up to the challenge. It's been a remarkable ride so far.
Like I said, I just got to see this to believe it. So, no, not that I doubt that anything is on that. Dennis, what can we do to support, besides going to the theater? What else can we do?
Yeah, you can donate, and you can, come support the theater.
Yeah, and one of the things we said this to the group before, the Spreckles, Oregon Pavilion Rock Band, and just like with you folks, just support live theater wherever you are, however you can do it. It's just something that's such an important part of our culture, and really needs to just continue. Ted, good seeing you again. I hope to see you. I know I'm going to make Susan push me on this one during the performance of Fully Committed. Always good to have you on. And Dennis, what a pleasure meeting you. I know you'll just hit it out of the park, and hopefully I'll see you in one of the performances.
Hey, great to meet you, Drew. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, my pleasure. We've been chatting with Ted Leib, director of Fully Committed at Scripps Ranch Theatre, joined by the only actor in the performance, Dennis Peters, taking on 40 different roles. Unbelievable. It is a must-see. I'm Drew Schlosberg, and you were listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by the amazing people at Mission Fed Credit Union for more than 6 decades, doing great things in San Diego County. We hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.